Hi, everyone. This is the Brad Free Report for January 4th. Let's go ahead and finish up our discussion about jockeys that we talked about last week. You know, when it comes to handicapping, condition, class, pace, and speed are more important than jockeys. And the reason I say that is because all those four elements are quantifiable, whereas when you are measuring the ability of a jockey, it is a highly subjective opinion. Who's riding well, who's not. I want to remind everyone that what you see with your eyes is a lot more important than the statistics that we're going to talk about momentarily. But statistics, jockey statistics, can in fact complement your own subjective opinion. And this tool that I like to use, it was actually written about many years ago by noted Southern California newspaper handicapper Gordon Jones. And his idea was this, the premise was this: if a jockey is riding horses that are good enough to hit the board, then maybe it's the jockey that makes a difference between wins, seconds, and thirds. And Gordon Jones' idea was that a jockey in top form would have more wins than seconds and more seconds than thirds. Conversely, a jockey in not so good form would have more seconds than wins and more thirds than seconds. So let's go ahead and take a look at some extremes that have been unfolded so far this meet. Not surprisingly, for the leading jockey at the meet, Flavien Prat, 8 for 34 with 5 seconds and 3/3. More wins than seconds, more seconds than thirds. Same thing with Heriberto Figueroa, very promising young apprentice, 7 for 23 with 2 seconds and 3/3. By the way, Figueroa has ridden 5 favorites, won with 3 of them. Okay, on the flip side, a couple of guys who are off to a little bit of a chilly start. Kent DeSormo has ridden only 19 horses, so it's a small sample. 1 win, 2 seconds and 3/3. That ratio is going the wrong way. DeSormo, by the way, has ridden only 2 favorites, and he won with 1 of them. Tyler Bays is off to a chilly start. It's not a good stat. 1 for 36 with 9 seconds and 5/3. Bays is 0 for 5 with favorites. Now, I'm not going to pick on Tyler Bays. It could just be an aberration. Maybe some of the horses that he has ridden are just not quite good enough. In fact, Tatters to Riches had extenuating circumstances when he misfired in the San Antonio on opening day. And Bays, he gets my star for the best ride of the meet on Stradella Road, and I'm being very selfish. He's finished 3rd on Stradella Road at 50-1 in a key to 50-cent trifecta underneath the 2 favorites that paid $49. Bays also rode KP Pergalicious to a runner-up finish at 90-1. My point is this: that 9 seconds and 5/3 statistic for Bays is likely to change. Now, this is oversimplification. I get that. But the point is this: maybe it's a good idea to avoid low odds horses that are ridden by a jockey whose stats are upside down. Now, I don't think that a positive jockey stat is reason to bet on a horse at low odds, but I will say this: a negative jockey statistic, such as what we just looked at, might be reason enough to not bet a horse at a short price. So watch the ratio of wins to seconds to thirds. It's a very basic tool. I use it. I've been using it for a long time, and it works out pretty well. Okay, let's take a look back at a short price winner from last week. She was a 2-year-old filly on December 30th, making her career debut as the odds-on favorite in a maiden race, and her name is Anyuket. Anyuket was heavily wagered for trainer Bob Baffert, a daughter of Pioneer the Nile, with strong workouts going in, like most Bob Baffert trainees. And that's Anyuket taking care of business, winning by more than 4 lengths over the promising runner-up Miss Ava's Union. Now, Anyuket, this is a good filly. I think we're going to hear more about Anyuket in the weeks and months ahead. And trainer Bob Baffert, we know he's loaded with colts. He's also loaded with fillies. Anyuket, we just saw. Kahira, she won her only start by daylight, more than 4 lengths down to Del Mar in November. Baffert also trains Chasing Yesterday, Mother, and I want to give a little quick tip on an unraced filly that is nearing her career debut for Baffert. Her name is Flor de la Mar. She's a daughter of Tisnow, produced by Grade 3 winner Sacristy. Flor de la Mar, 4 words, Flor de la Mar. Watch for her career debut sometime soon for Baffert. She is rumored to be a good one. Baffert has a ton of newly turned 3-year-olds, colts and fillies. Some of them are actually a little disappointing, but some of them are emerging. Some of the ones currently on the sidelines, or at least disappointed first time out, Blue Moonrise, $500,000 Malibu Moon filly. She ran nowhere behind on Duquette. Derlou's on the sidelines, fighting mad. Rayana shadowing the Aurelia factor. Baffert has a very deep bench. On Duquette is one to keep an eye on. As far as the Colts go, well, we know what's happening this weekend. Baffert is going to unveil another star. He's already been unveiled, and his name is Coliseum. He runs in the Grade 3 Sham. Before we talk about this year's Sham field, let's take a look back at what has happened in the 8 years since the Sham Stakes was moved to January. This race has turned into an absolute parade of chalk. 8 Sham Stakes in January, 6 of them won by the favorite. Gormley, he paid a whopping $5.20. You have to go all the way back to 2012 for an upset winner. The point is this race, this 1 mile race in January for 3-year-olds, probably not the type of race that you want to go shopping for a price. And if anything, maybe it's a race in which you can single the favorite. I think you can. This year's Sham field is led by a very promising gray son of Tapit. His name is Coliseum. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Sham. It's race number 9 on Saturday at Santa Anita. 3-year-olds going 1 mile. And the favorite at even money, ridden by Joe Talamo, is Coliseum. And he's favored for all the right reasons, not the least of which his pure, raw ability. If you haven't had a chance yet, read Jay Pribman's story on the Grade 3 Sham, and jockey Joe Talamo had some interesting things to say about Coliseum. Now, I know jockey quotes with horses they ride are sometimes relatively meaningless, but Talamo had some interesting things to say, and he talked about how deep the Santa Anita racetrack is. And he said most horses get to the finish and want to pull up, they're so tired. But Coliseum, when Talamo has been working him in the morning, he's like a freight train, is what Talamo told my colleague Jay Pribman. So we're looking for Coliseum to reproduce his career debut, and what a smashing debut it was. It was on November 17th at Del Mar. And Coliseum, who had not shown the ability to break all that well in his morning workouts, well, he broke like a shot. He made the lead, and he was long gone. This is Coliseum winning his career debut with a 91 Beyer speed figure. This is a good colt on his way up the ladder, and we'll find out more about him on Saturday. I expect him to win. No secrets there. He's the even money favorite. The second, or actually the first stakes race, because it's race number 7 on Saturday, is the Grade 2 San Gabriel Stakes at 1 mile and 1/8. And the rain that was supposed to arrive before Saturday is not going to arrive until later Saturday afternoon, and that's unfortunate for the horse that I picked on top, and his name is Next Shares. And the reason it's unfortunate is because Next Shares likes a little bit of give in the ground. He's not going to get it on Saturday unless the rains arrive early, and I don't think they will, not if the forecast is correct. So we're left with a field of 10, and this is one of the most evenly matched grass races that you will ever see. I do like Next Shares as my top selection. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one horse in here that might be worth wagering on. His name is Cleopatra's Strike. He's an 8-to-1 shot, making his California debut for trainer Phil D'Amato. D'Amato entered Cleopatra's Strike in a 2-other-than allowance race on opening week. He did not draw in from the also eligibles. That's why he is in this race. D'Amato said that this horse's workouts for him in California are much sharper than the video of Cleopatra's Strike's races at Woodbine. He's outclassed. He's a 2-other-than, making his California debut in a Grade 2, but we have seen this before with D'Amato trainees. Fault for one, Ransom the Moon for another, horses that make their first start for D'Amato or improve in California for D'Amato. And I think that Cleopatra's Strike, he's 8-to-1. Is he good enough on form? No, he's not, but he could be a better horse this year for D'Amato than he was up at Woodbine. Okay, it's time to wrap it up with the thumbs up, thumbs down segment. And let's give a thumbs up to trainer Jeff Mullins and Amandine. She was an impressive winner of the Lady of Shamrock Stakes on December 26th, and she came right back 3 days later to finish a promising third in the Grade 1 American Oaks. She's a throwback to days when horses were sturdy. 2 starts in 3 days, a Stakes 1 victory, and Grade 1 place. So thumbs up to Amadine. The thumbs down category, and I want to be respectful because we know that horses do get hurt. It happens all the time. It seems like it's happening a little more often of late, and it could be just an aberration. But California Gold Rush came out of her disappointing effort in the American Oaks with a knee injury. Hopefully it's just a chip and she'll be back, but that remains to be seen. Flying Scotsman, who was the best 2-year-old grass horse in California last year, he's on the sidelines. He's trained by Jerry Hollendorfer. Hollendorfer trained filly It's Just an Illusion. She should be in the Santa Anita on Sunday, but she's not because she's on the sidelines. And now comes word also that Fatal Bear, Grade 1 winning filly from last year, suffered a setback, and she's actually entered in a sale. So you hate to see horses get hurt. It seems like it's happening a little bit more often of late. And again, it could be sheer coincidence. But we're back in action this weekend. And on Saturday, it's Coliseum at a short price in the Sham Stakes. And maybe Cleopatra Strike worth gambling on at 8-1 on Saturday in the Grade 2 San Gabriel. I'm Brad Freed. Talk to you next time.